Christmas is around the corner, and yesterday was Black Friday, and you're actually out on the hunt for some holiday fragrance gift ideas. So this is my holiday fragrance or Christmas fragrance shopping guide. Fragrance gifts all under $100. And we're also talking about fragrances that are not the most popular. Niche fragrances, unisex fragrances. So if you want to find out what they are, please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time on this channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. And yes, Christmas or the holidays are just around the corner. We just celebrated Thanksgiving here in the States a few days ago. Yesterday was Black Friday where all the sales are happening. And you're looking for gift ideas for yourself perhaps, or maybe even for friends and relatives. But you want to find fragrance gifts that are not your typical fragrances that everybody is wearing or the department stores are selling. Although I have some fragrances here that are designers, but the majority of these are niche brands and they are all under $100. A lot of them are under $50, but there are some that are definitely $50 to $100. And a lot of the niche brands actually are not at discounters, so I'm going to let you know what their suggested retail price is. But first off, I want to start off with a fragrance called Serendipitous from a house called Serendipity 3. This is a fragrance recently I featured in my vanilla fragrances video, top 20 vanilla fragrances video. This is Serendipity 3 Serendipitous, and this is all about delicious vanilla. It is so delicious. It's just like you're smelling the vanilla sort of mixed in with like the dough, the cooking dough. So you've got a little bit of a doughy, cakey kind of smell. A vanilla cake comes to mind. Caramels also come to mind, but very delicious. And this is a niche brand, not very much spoken about. And it's a 50 ml bottle and it retails for $45. A really inexpensive price. And during the holidays, I really love my gourmands. So if you're looking for that vanilla, caramelly, baked, yummy, delicious fragrance, something that will stand out from all the typical fragrances out there, check out Serendipitous from Serendipity 3. For $45, it's pretty awesome. Under $50, of course. It would make a great gift. And this is also sold at Lucky Scent and of course at Amazon. I'll have a link to it in the info box. The next one I'm going to the House of KIEHL'S, and this is a pretty darn amazing musk fragrance. This is original musk from the House of KIEHL'S. It's Eau de Toilette. But for someone that's looking for this like really sexy, slightly cozy, delicious musk fragrance, this is definitely one to do for you. $42.50 for a 50 ml bottle, again under $50. And this is a suggested retail price, the same as the last fragrance. So you can find these at all KIEHL'S stores or order it online. Awesome, it's one of the best musk fragrances, hands down, recently featured in my musk video, and absolutely love it. It is all synthetic, but it really does smell like you're smelling real musk. Really good stuff. So check it out. This is KIEHL'S original musk. Next we're going to a designer, sort of a designer. We're going to the House of Guerlain, and this is L'Homme Ideal Cologne, this one right here. Recently ranked #1 in a video I shot with Ashley, and she selected this as her #1. I selected it as my #2. I believe it was my #2. But this is a really great designer-ish release. Very fresh and refreshing, sort of kind of focusing on their almondy DNA for this series of fragrances, but more going in a fresh grapefruit direction. And I really like this one. Actually, this is probably something that's more appropriate for summer, even though we're heading right into winter. But I think as an everyday scent, as a signature scent, I think it's perfect. And these are recently selling at the discounters for under $30. So a 100 ml bottle at the discounters under $30, that's quite amazing. So this is L'Homme Ideal Cologne. the cologne version. And the other thing I want to mention, the entire series can probably be found at the discounters, minus the latest release, the L'Intense. So if you're up for checking out the other versions, you can always do that. I have a feeling the EDP Eau de Parfum is going to be discontinued from what I've been hearing. I'm not 100% sure, but I wanted to feature this one because it is at its lowest price. Under 30 is quite amazing. So next we're going to a series of fragrances from a niche house that also has a regular, more expensive lineup of fragrances. I'm talking about Tower Perfumes, and this is the TAUERVILLE line of fragrances that are suggested retail price of $63. So with the TAUERVILLE lineup of fragrances, you have a vanilla flash, a rose flash, a incense flash, patchouli flash, tuberose flash, amber flash, and a patch flash, I think is the last one. But these are them right here. And if you like the idea of exploring different genres of fragrances, all under $100, this is one to start off with. A lot of these fragrances are pretty intense beast mode fragrances, really long lasting. So you got vanilla flash here, incense flash here for the incense lovers, vanilla lovers this one, amber lovers, this is the amber flash. This is the tuberose flash. Then you have patch flash, this one, patchouli lovers. I have a review of this one, check it out. In fact, I probably have reviews for a lot of these. This is patchouli flash, which is basically fruity notes with patchouli. And this, of course, is the delicious rose flash, awesome stuff. If you like Aramis calligraphy rose, this is one that has similarities, not the same, but similarities. So those are awesome fragrances, $63, very long lasting. Even though they're EDP, Eau de Parfum concentration, a lot of them act like extrait de parfum, really dense and heavy. So I highly recommend those for the budget conscious perfume shopper, and they make great gifts as well because they're so small. They come in little boxes. You can stuff them in, you know, the stockings or something, or just give it as a gift. Another indie niche house I want to talk about is, of course, Imaginary Authors with their fragrances that are quite awesome. I love this line, I love this house, and I also love everything about their fragrances. Some of my favorites are this one right here. This is Saint Julep, latest release, Sundrunk, I absolutely love. The Rose Slow Explosions is quite awesome. And then you also have things like Yesterday's Haze and Cape Heartache, Memoirs of a Trespasser for the woody vanilla lover. But there's a ton more that I haven't brought down, but these are all $95, 50 ml bottles. They're kind of sort of like inspired by imaginary books or from imaginary authors, but a great lineup of fragrances. I have fragrance reviews on these fragrances on my channel. You can always search to find out more, but they also make great gifts because the actual presentation, they look like they're books. They kind of fit like a bookshelf kind of sort of thing. So that's a great series of fragrances. Another series of fragrances that I really like are from the fragrances of the house of MOLINARD. I've done a review for MOLINARD's Cœur, this one right here, and also Vanille Patchouli. But I've also spoken about Musk in this bottle and also Violette in this bottle. But here in the States, the bottles look like this, of course, and they're suggested retail $65, and they are a 100 ml bottle, and they have so many different flavors or scents. Lavender, rose, musk, of course, fig is getting a lot of hype lately, but so many different variations. And once again, if you want to explore specific notes in perfumes, these are the ones to try with. They're highly recommended. I've actually been to their perfumery in Grasse several times, and I love this house a lot. And the good thing about these is, even though they're suggested retail $65, you can find deals on these, and sometimes they go under $50, even as low as $40 for a 100 ml bottle. So for the person that loves perfumes, that likes to explore different notes in perfumery and wants to focus on, you know, the specific note, whereas here we're focusing on leather with the Cœur, and here we're focusing on vanilla and patchouli. Here we have the violet note, and then of course here I have the musk note. I think these make great gifts. The other thing I want to say, in Europe the bottles look like this, not the purple bottles. I'm not sure why that's happened, or maybe they're switching over, but these I brought back from Europe, and these are from the States here. So those are great house to check out. Another niche house from the UK that I think is definitely worth checking out, that I recently did a video for Molten Brown. These are the fragrances right here. This is Mesmerizing, Eau de Court, and Gold. And you also have Russian Leather here, Tobacco Absolute here. This is Bushukan. Of course, this one is Coastal Cypress and Sea Fennel. So many different varieties of fragrances, and this is 5 of them. I have a video on these, and of course, I also did that review for the Mesmerizing Eau de Court and Gold. These are suggested retail $75 or $70 here in the States, but I brought these back from the UK airport, and they were like 30-some pounds, which is really, really awesome for a price. And again, you're not necessarily like focusing on one note like the MOLINARDs or the TOUERVILLE fragrances, but you're sort of playing around with like a focused note, and they build on that fragrance. Whereas the Gold, the Mesmerizing Eau de Court and Gold, is a very spicy and very easily wearable oud fragrance and so on. So a great collection of fragrances. They're also known for their shower gels or the bath products. Great house. I highly recommend their products and their fragrances. So they make great gifts for around $75 for a 50 ml bottle. Speaking of UK brands, another one to check out, more of an indie niche brand called Gallivant, and recently I reviewed Tokyo, but they have 7 fragrances, I believe. We have 3 of them here. Here's Amsterdam, a very unique fragrance. Tokyo is a incense fragrance focusing on the Japanese styles of notes, like it has wasabi in it. And then Berlin is another one which is focusing on vetiver. Very great collection of fragrances. Now these are very compact bottles. They're 30 ml bottles, EDP concentration, and they retail for $95. So a little on the pricier side, less juice, but still a great collection of fragrances that you can kind of like stand out with your gifts, or actually stand out with what you are buying for yourself, because these fragrances are not so well known, and rather than going to the typical designers from Macy's and places like that, you go for something more unique, like brands like Molton Brown, Gallivant, TOUERVILLE, MOLINARD, and so forth. Another house I'd like to mention is a house called BERDOUES, which I have a video for that I shot a couple of years ago with one of their associates. And it's a house that has really unique fragrances in 100 ml, suggested retail $88, sold at Sephora. Online you can pick them up. But the 2 fragrances that I have in my collection that are under $100 are Selva do Brazil, this one right here, and Assam of India. So personally, I think these fragrances are sort of similar to me, like Atelier Cologne, if that makes sense. So they kind of come off like them, and the inspirations and the smells are kind of sort of like Atelier Cologne fragrances. But the pricing is really good with these. Simple fragrances, great smells, and for under $100 you can totally stand out with what you're gifting your relatives with. So check these ones out for sure. Going to a designer, the house of Vince Camuto. I recently did a video for their 2 oud fragrances. Once again, I'm going to speak about these 2 oud fragrances, and if you're brand new in the world of buying and collecting fragrances, and you want to kind of venture into the oud world, check out the 2 ouds from Vince Camuto. The regular oud here and smoked oud here. This one you can find for around $35 at the discounters. This one about $40 at the discounters. 100 ml bottles, both eau de toilettes, but still oud. You're going to start exploring oud. Now the original oud is more along the line of like Tom Ford's oud, wood, and things like that. Not necessarily the same, more in that direction. And smoked oud is more rosy, like lots of rose with oud, if that makes sense. So this one's in the rose direction. But you can get both of these bottles for under $100 at the discounters, and you have 200 ml of juice for under 100. I mean, if you've got like a $100 budget and somebody's really into oud that are starting out and you want to gift them, you can get both of these for under $100. It's a no-brainer, but great quality. I really enjoy both of them, and I think they make great gifts. Other house I want to go with that is more about vetiver is LALIQUE. LALIQUE has ENCRE Noir. This one right here, I recently did a video for these 3 fragrances. There's also the LALIQUE ENCRE Noir Sport, this one right here. And then there's, of course, LALIQUE ENCRE Noir à l'Extrême, my favorite of the 3. But it's all about dark, inky vetiver. Very well known in the community. And if you're brand new at it and you don't have too much of a budget to start out with fragrances, or you have a little budget for gifts, You can find these for around $35, $30 even for 100 ml. As I said, my favorite is this one right here. I absolutely love it, and it's also sort of similar to Chanel Sycamore, and great quality fragrance. This one can be had for around $40, the a la Extreme version. The Sport is also around the $30 mark, and if you want to gift somebody 3 bottles of fragrances, these 3 you can pick up for under $100 sometimes, and that is an awesome collection of fragrances, and they'll be very, very happy with this masculine vetiver smell. I want to go back to one more oud here. This is YSL's M7, and this is a great entry-level oud if you are an oud lover. But this one, compared to the other 2 ouds from Vince Camuto, this one has orangey touch, if that makes sense. So it's got the woody oud and a bit spices, and there's this like really nice and balmy orangey citrus touch. So it kind of coats the oud, the roughness of the oud, and makes it a little more easily wearable. But you still have oud there. I find this one to be a great, great entry-level oud fragrance, and you can pick this up at the discounters for under $50. So this is definitely worth it. Now I want to go to some fragrances that are on the smaller size, as they do have the larger sizes available, but the smaller sizes of their fragrances are all under $100. In fact, they retail for $65. And the fragrances I'm talking about are the ESCENTRIC Molecules fragrances. You can buy their 30 ml bottles for $65. And they come in this metal case like this. And if you've heard on my channel, I'm a big fan of these fragrances, and these are pretty awesome, and they are definitely, you know, fragrances that are for the, I guess not necessarily for the fragrance hater, but somebody that doesn't want something strong, but still get compliments, because the way these fragrances work are pretty amazing, I think. Molecule 1 is probably the most popular, but my favorite has become, if I can find it, here I have Eccentric 4 here, but my favorite's become Molecule 4. But the little case is really cool, and these are really portable. You can travel with them lightly, and they're awesome. As you can see, it's kind of like a cigarette lighter, if that makes sense. But the whole entire series, Molecule 1, 2, 3, 4 and Eccentric 1, 2, 3, 4 are available for $65 each. I mean, the larger sizes are just a little over $130, perhaps maybe $140, but the small 30 mLs are definitely under $100, and you can kind of sort of gift one of those to somebody, or gift yourself one as an entry level, trying out the Eccentric Molecules series. Another fragrance from a house that is rarely spoken about, and it's a designer house. It's a Spanish designer house called TAUS, and this is TAUS Man Sport, this one right here. Recently I saw this one on at the retailers, at the discounters, for $30. So it's a very sporty, slightly aquatic, slightly aldehydic, fresh orangey fragrance, and the great fragrance. I love it. And if I want something simple throughout the day, and I want a little bit of an orangey touch with like slight touches of aquatic touches and of course aldehydes, I pull for something like this. It's really lovely. Nothing overwhelming, nothing intense, just a pleasant scent, crowd pleaser, compliment getter. So if you're looking for something like that, a sporty fragrance, once again, I guess the name fits appropriately. I was going to say, I'm not sure if it really makes sense to call it sport, but it is sporty, definitely. That orange adds this like sportiness to it, zinginess to it. So check it out. TAUS Man Sport is another one for you to try. Going to a house that's very well known for inexpensive or budget fragrances, and that's the house of JOVAN with their 2 fragrances. This one is Intense Oud, and then this one is Secret Amber. Both of these are awesome entry-level oriental style fragrances. You've got the oud, of course, and you've also got the amber. Amber is delicious. It's actually one of the best inexpensive ambers out there, and I love amber fragrances, and this one can't be beat. Both of them for under $20. You can buy 2 and still be under $50, if that makes sense, if you are really on a budget. I recommend these a lot. Recently we featured both of these in the inexpensive or cheap fragrances ranked by Ashley video. So check that video out, and if you are looking for inexpensive fragrances as gifts or for yourself, check these 2 out. There's a perfumery shop in Pennsylvania that also releases some fragrances called Perfumology, and they have 3 fragrances, 2 of which I'm featuring here in this video, and they have a 3rd one. The fragrances are Bliss, a very beautiful floral. There's also Grange, which also has fig and very effervescent soda-like quality, and then the new fragrance is called Clutch. And these are 50 ml bottles and under $100. And I think they make great gifts, and they're very, very unique smells compared to what's available out there at the department stores. And check out my review for this one. I really love this one. It's a very happy fragrance. That cola vibe is so happy and uplifting that if you're looking for a fragrance that's very, very happy, and you tend to get sad or something and you want to be uplifted, this one is definitely one to try. In fact, the floral one, the Bliss, is also very, very happy. So another house to check out that's more indie niche and under $100. There's a house out of France that used to be a designer, actually. I'm not even sure if they're designing clothes now, but I think they might be, but very, very low profile. The house I'm talking about is ROCHAS, and recently I did a video for these two fragrances and how I enjoyed them, and they were at that time a lot more pricey, the fragrances. The fragrances I'm talking about are Eau de Rocha Pro Homme, this one right here, and Oud Mystère, this one right here. I found these now very, very inexpensively at the discounters, and Rocha is $22 for 100 ml. A very, very fresh, citrusy, sort of like Eau Sauvage or something like Balmain, Monsieur Balmain. Or this one is a very, very fizzy and effervescent oud fragrance with rose. Very, very, very delicious. Both of them, I mean, really inexpensive fragrances, really great quality fragrances at the discounters. Get them and gift them, or get them and gift them for yourself, because I really think these are both excellent, excellent releases. One fragrance I need to talk about is because it's awesome. It's one of the best designer fragrances. That's the best niche quality designer fragrance. The fragrance I'm talking about is Bentley for Men Intense, this one right here. Freaking amazing fragrance that you can find for under $40, maybe even $30, $35, $40. But man, this stuff is so good. Boozy, yummy, smoky, woody fragrance that I absolutely go crazy over. This is one of the most amazing releases. It is very, very popular in the fragrance community because it's so good. Everybody seems to love it. I love it, and I still love it, and I've had it for a good 4 years and can't stop wearing it. It just smells wonderful. And this makes a great, great gift. It's inexpensive, it's very, very good quality, and a unique smell. It's very, very niche quality, even though it's from a car designer or designer, if that makes sense. So check it out if you don't know it. Watch my review. Watch Ashley talk about it, because we featured this on videos with her, as she really fell in love with it, and you won't go wrong with this one. A couple more I wanted to talk to you about. Just one that has several fragrances that I want to feature here is from the House of Banana Republic. Recently I did a video featuring these fragrances from their collection of unique fragrances, and they're really, really inexpensive. 48 bucks for the 75 ml bottles, this one right here. And the one that I really think is a standout that Ashley also thought about, that she thought was a standout as well, is the Oud Mosaic 17, this one right here. And a lot of times people are finding these at discounters. The discounters I'm talking about are the Banana Republic outlet store sells them half price, so you get them for about 24 bucks. And people are finding them at like places like TJ Maxx and places like that. So great, great niche quality fragrances and wonderful prices. Even 48 bucks for these fragrances is not going to break the bank, and then you can end up buying two. But for 24 bucks or 25 bucks, man, these are awesome. You can buy four for under, well, for about $100, and it won't break the bank. So this is Oud Mosaic. Another one that I really like is 78 Vintage Green. This one is so fresh and green. I absolutely love this one. But there's so many different ones that you can discover and smell. There's a 90 Pure White, this one right here. There's the Neroli Woods, which is all about Neroli, featured in my Neroli video. The Vintage Green was featured in my Fig video recently, or Green Fragrances video, so check those out. And last but not least, I want to talk to you about a house that has fragrances in large sizes, and of course they have these wonderful, wonderful 30 ml minis that are excellently priced. And the house I'm talking about is NICOLAI, perfumer, creator, or Parfums de NICOLAI. Patricia NICOLAI is the perfumer behind it. The fragrance that I first featured on this channel earlier this year was Cap Neroli, this one right here, that I absolutely fell in love with. It's a Neroli, very, very fresh green Neroli. $48 for a 30 ml bottle, and that is awesome. Fig Tea is another one that's really awesome. Really wonderful tea, fig, fruity, love it. So those two were $48. Then there's also these intense versions that are $65. So you have more intense interpretations of their fragrances, a little higher priced, if that makes sense. So kind of makes sense to me that they would put their intense more expensive. So $65 for 30 ml intense fragrances such as New York Intense and a Musk Intense, which I absolutely love. I love this musk. It's so intense, it's so good. Really, really sexy. Well, there you have it. Those are my gift ideas or suggestions for you guys. I hope you liked this video with all the suggestions I offered for you. These are all under $100 obviously, and a lot of these are so low that you can buy more than 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you have people that you're buying fragrances for and there's way too many that love fragrance and you like gifting fragrances and you have a very, very small budget, some of these fragrances you can actually buy 4 for under $100 and it won't break the bank. And of course some of them are more pricey, and if you have a little more budget and you want something more unique, you can also get something like that. All these are awesome fragrances, and I approve of these fragrances. I have reviewed them and I love them, and I highly recommend them. So for your gift buying selections of fragrances. But if you have any questions or comments, do let me know. Let me know what you'll be buying if you already have set your mind up to buying some fragrances to people. Do you enjoy buying fragrances for people, or do you not even enjoy buying fragrances for people? And if you're watching this video, are you looking for suggestions for yourself or for your friends or family or relatives or whatever? Let me know, put some comments down, let's get a conversation started. Other than that, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.